Yo, I found another one, right? I found another classic to sample. You know what I'm saying? Remember on the last video when I was telling you about TV show themes that you just loved when you was a little kid that had a certain rhythm and all of that, right? And you was like, yo, like even as a little kid, I don't know if you used the word yo, but you was like, that joint mean, you know what I'm saying? But you didn't like the show, right? You did not necessarily watch the show, you know what I'm saying? But this show you watched, right? It came on in the 70s, right? So if you was in the 70s and all of that, this was a show you watched. Now, it reran to the 80s and the 90s, right? But this show right here you watch, and this was called The $6 Million Man with Steve Austin's character, right? But what you didn't know, the show had two composers, okay? For the miniseries that came before the 5-season TV show, there was a three episode miniseries, right? In 1973 that came before this TV show, right? Which was fire, right? Had you wanted to join the Air Force and all of that, right? Thinking when you go to the Air Force it's going to be all that, but when you got there, it wasn't none of this really, right? Unless, you know. But anyway. But yo, you saw this and you heard it and you had to watch it, right? Because the theme song was a part of the show, right? So the original miniseries was conducted by this cat called Glenn Larson, right? Right? And then they remade the theme song by this black dude named Oliver Nelson, right? And Oliver Nelson, he was like the low-key Quincy Jones, right? But he played instruments and all of that. You know what I'm saying? He was more than conductor and all that. He did his thing, man. Go Google Oliver Nelson, right? He was the man. Now Glenn Larson, I'm not gonna take nothing away from him because he did the original three-part series, right? But he went also himself, Glenn Larson. He went and he did a whole bunch of other TV shows himself, right? But Oliver Nelson also was a jazz type dude or whatever. And you go Google his name and you'll know what I'm saying, right? So without further ado, man, I gotta flip it my own way. You know what I'm saying? The Kirk State flip, chop, flip way. We're gonna do something with the $6 Million Man, okay? You know what time it is. So I'm gonna bring this down to about, you know me, 86 is a good year. We're gonna keep it there. Maybe go 85, man. All right, so we got the foundation, right? I'm just gonna throw another snare in there. Hold up, I got. You know, if you've been watching the videos, I always have at least 2 drum kits, right? With maybe one or two kicks, hi-hats, snares, etc., right? You know what I'm saying? And I call that the DJ blend theory, okay? Or the DJ blend technique. And the reason I call it the DJ blend technique is because back in the day, you would have one record on one side, one record on the other side, known as the 1 and 2s, right? And you would blend two different records, right, together. And the drums match up perfectly, which is called the blend, okay? And that's where I get that from.
What's wrong? Mission control, mission control. What's wrong? 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 What's wrong?
Not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
What if he could be more than the man he was? What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. What if he could be more than he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
We have the technology to rebuild him. wrong? What if he could be more than the man he was?
I'm not sure he'd want to live if he can't be the man he was.
He had the technology to rebuild him.
I'm gonna do a little something with this, you know what I'm saying? All right, we're gonna go ahead.
Kirk State, Kirk State, Kirk State, Kirk State, Kirk State. Kirk State, Kirk State, Kirk State, Kirk State, Kirk State.
All right, so there you have it, man. It's your man Kirk State, and I went through the Steve Austin Super TV theme from $6 Million Man, made and composed by Oliver Nelson. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, I took a few horn pieces. Actually, you know what? Some of those horn pieces, the way I got them assembled, I actually got about 2 or 3 beats, right? So I may end up just turning this into 2 separate beats. You know what I'm saying? And now it's just clicking right now, right? So I have them different sequences. I got about 6 sequences, I think, right? And you can tell one of them a little bit slower with the bass line. I might use that for a whole nother joint, right? Maybe make another sequence to go with that. But sometimes, man, with these classic TV show themes, they're full of jewels, man. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them, the real classic ones, like the 60s and 70s TV shows, had their own character in the music, like I was saying before, man. So, yo, keep digging. There's a lot of stuff out there. Tons and tons of shows that had real good themes, but they weren't popular shows. But they had good themes, though. You know what I'm saying? They might have had 1 season. You know what I'm saying? Some of your most popular shows only had 2 seasons. It was Star Trek, 2 or 3 seasons or something like that. But, yeah, it's your man Kirk State, and I'm going to see you on the next joint. We're going to chop it up. Let's go.